Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. And I have another hangout in quick succession from my last hangout. Joining me again will be Bridget, the INFJ, joined by two other INFJs. We have three INFJs in the house. So say hello, Bridget.
Hi.
And you are here with your spouse, your husband. What's his name?
Name's Mike.
I'm Mike. My name is Jake. And we also have from the great state of, where are you from again, Kayce?
Central.
What state are you from? Are you afraid to say? She's from the northern.
Yeah,
Midwest.
from the northern central part.
Yeah, the northern plains area. Kayce, who is also an INFJ.
Mm-hmm.
And we know all each other from the chat. So first, I'll ask, what did you guys do this weekend? Did you do anything fun this weekend, Kayce?
What did I do? I don't know. I don't remember. I did a lot of stuff, basically.
You just do boring stuff like shopping and like nothing fun, nothing exciting.
No, I wanted to have a nothing day just because I'm really tired from working with the students, so just need to relax.
You work with students? You're a teacher?
Yeah, I'm their advisor. Basically, I just tell them to go to class and stop skipping.
You're a professional nag?
Yeah, pretty much.
How about Bridget? Did you guys do anything this weekend?
Well, Nova worked, and I walked around a park for 3 hours.
Mike, what do you do for a living?
I'm an entry-level auto technician, but this Saturday I did a seminar.
What kind of technician?
Auto tech.
Okay. And you said you had a seminar?
Yep. That's where I spent most of my day.
What did they teach you, like where to put the hoses?
No, this was actually a sales seminar, but I didn't really need it.
Why do you what did they tell you?
It's mostly just upsell tactics and other things to generate more revenue, but I have my own style and it works.
I ended up giving him the week off because he sold so much commission last Saturday.
That's nice. I was going to say, like they say, mechanics have such a great reputation for being honest. There's a real opportunity here to trick people into buying shit they don't really need.
Well, it's not that you're buying stuff you don't need. You're buying stuff you need early. That's kind of the deal, is that the mechanics are trying to pack as much stuff to be taken care of at one time that you can afford.
Now, I noticed you guys, I don't think your dog got into the shot last time, Bridget. You guys have a dog together. What's your dog's name?
Dog's name is Gilgamesh.
And he lives, I've seen pictures with you and the dog. It goes everywhere with you guys, huh?
Yep. He is the attached child.
He's very, very wanting my attention today.
Well, he can tell you're doing something interesting. Dogs can. Pets can always tell. I always notice my friends with cats whenever they're doing something interesting, that's when the cat sticks his ass in their face.
Yeah, he's suddenly like super into being over here. He had literally no interest until the hangout went up.
So, Kayce, do you? How long have you known about typology and BTI and all this other stuff?
I first took it when I was in college because it made you go through the whole college career, testing stuff.
Like in your orientation? It's like part of your orientation?
No, it was just kind of optional if you wanted to take it. And so I was like, okay, sure, I'll try. And then I took it, and then my result came out as an INFJ. I guess I didn't know what the heck that would mean. I was just kind of okay, whatever. And then kind of forgot about it afterwards.
What did they tell you about when they gave it to you?
All I remember was the lady said she explained what the INFJ means, and then when she saw it, she said, "Oh, you're INFJ." I'm like, I don't know what that means. Okay, sure.
Have you since gotten deeper into it? Is it something that you find you can use at school or with your students or anything?
Yeah, not until recently, probably. So, I was really involved in this church, and they're really, really involved about MBTI and stuff like that.
Like your
And
church?
yeah, that's my kitty.
Part of, like, their social, okay. Is that part of like their socialization thing or like community stuff with the church?
Yeah. Well, they use MBTI to just kind of like figure out how people work, and it's just a fun personality test as they all saw it. And that's when I kind of figured I decided to go back into kind of researching a little bit more about it. And then that's when I came across Young and Functions, and then that's when I came across sociologics, and then I kind of got more into it. And then after that, I kind of gave it a little break because I left to go to Mexico for a bit. And then I met an ISFJ girl, and she was very, very into MBTI. So we started talking about that. And then after that, I decided that.
Person. How did you meet the ISFJ who was into typology as well?
You mean the ISFJ girl?
Yeah. Who were they to you?
Oh, I met her in Mexico when it's basically like a nonprofit, and we all just kind of like decided to join. It was an anonymous student, basically.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so then the more I got into it, the more I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, maybe I'll kind of look into it. And then I sort of led a MBTI class with my student. What do you want? Go away. And then they liked it, but you know how it is. We don't have enough time to teach them. So I just kind of basically explained the very light stuff like E and I, J and P. I didn't really explain the middle part just because I don't think they really care to understand that detail.
You started getting more once you started learning about functions, I would imagine.
Yeah, some of them do like it, so they were asking me a little bit more about it. But most of the time, high school student, they're just like here and now, they're gone. The next, once you leave the class, they don't remember anything. So, yeah.
Bridget, you work in the people business? Do you ever have cause to use it yet, or is it just not something you apply in professional life at all?
I definitely think about the types of the people that I work with and my coworkers. And
did we did last time? I don't think we did necessarily.
Huh?
I don't think we said what you did for a living the first time.
Oh, yeah. I'm an employment consultant for people with disabilities. So people who receive services either through DVR or DDA, which is the Developmental Disability Administration. They get referred to my agency, and they get paired with an employment consultant, and the state pays us by a contract to help them get jobs, and then place them into the jobs, and then support them while they're on the job. And
well, I can see you can use it for lots of people. You can use it for your clients, you could use it for their employers, but
yeah,
that's the kind of stuff it comes up with.
Yeah, I guess, it works in the same way that I use it with everybody, like I use typology to try to understand like how to best talk to somebody or how to appeal to what their function stack prioritizes. And that can be really useful in my job because sometimes you're trying to do a lot of negotiating. And so you might want to negotiate with an employer for more hours for your client, or you might, want to negotiate with an employer to give your person a job in the first place, and kind of understanding what's going on there typologically wise can be really helpful.
You and Mike, you learned about typology the same amount of time, or did you just start driving crazy with this stuff until you learned about it?
Well, for me, I've actually known about typology since early high school, actually early elementary school. That was when I first learned about the Myers-Briggs and all that fun stuff. And then I immediately forgot about it because transitioning from middle school to high school was interesting because I was a mover and military family, so kind of lost touch with it. And then early high school, I got back into it, took a test, came out INFJ. A few years later, did it again, INFJ. And so I was like, okay, I need to kind of understand this more and what it actually means as to my daily life and how I interact with others. And so I kind of got really, really into it for about 6 or 7 months, then sort of fell off. And now I'm with my wife, and she's diving headfirst into it, and I'm just kind of along for the ride.
I don't know if it's a pattern, but I do notice like no one who really I know who's deep into it the first time they learn about it or hear about it takes it all that seriously, and then there's like a second approach that comes afterwards.
Yeah, definitely. Because I kind of learned about it in high school, and then it wasn't until this past year when I got into Discord that I had learned about functions and stuff before Discord, but after Discord, and now it's like all day long typology.
I guess I only use it by myself. Kind of. Well, there were actually meetups. Like I've been to a couple of meetups here in Southern California because there are groups that can talk about stuff. But I almost would get too much into the theory, and I had more interest in talking about it with somebody who just knew about it than I did in the sort of social aspect. It's like we can socialize anytime. Like there are bars. Like it's not that hard to find people who just want to talk about the Lakers or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's just me, I guess. Kayce, were you going to say something?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it is kind of interesting. Do you guys? I guess it would make sense to talk about the INFJ. Do you guys have any questions for each other? Like introverted intuition is always the oddball function that even the dominance of that function can't seem to describe in clear terms. So, Mike, how about we start with you? What's your relationship to the idea of introverted intuition? Or if you had to explain to somebody, somebody put a gun to your head, what is introverted intuition? What would you say?
I mean,
That's a scenario.
Probably more confusing than having him shoot me, but a lot of the intuitive intuition for me it's mostly reading into a situation way too quickly in my own head, and then trying to somewhat manipulate the scenario to come to that result without just letting the result naturally happen and being like, oh, so that's how it went.
Is it because it's worth your time, at least some of the time, to jump to conclusions because you're not wrong necessarily?
I think it's more or less of a higher success of guessing right, not necessarily being like right or wrong. It's just that my guesses are a lot right, so I'm confident in my guessing ability and not necessarily like forcing the issue of I'm right and you're wrong. It's like I guessed this and it happened, yay for me, because now I don't have to put in any extra work to figure out anything else. And
Does that make any sense to you, Kayce? Does that operate? Is that how you operate?
Yeah, I was just thinking I'm so guilty of that. My roommate, she's an ISFP, and so she'll always look at me. She's like, why do you always make assumptions about people? I'm like, because I know I'm right. In my head, I don't tell her things like that. So I'm just kind of like, okay, well, because I try to stop myself from making an assumption about things or situations. So even I have already jumped into a conclusion about something, I would just kind of like, okay, hold up, just sit back, just let it play out. If it's wrong, then it's wrong. If it's right, then I'm right about something like that. But I'll give it an example. I don't know if this is a really good example, but even when we were in Boston, and I would research about like restaurants and things like that. And when I would look at a restaurant, I don't know why, I just had a really weird, funky, like I don't know, that place doesn't look like they treat people well. I don't know why. And so, like I was telling you, I don't know if I mentioned to you guys about the tavern right across from the Airbnb, and when we went there, and I don't know, it could be a lot of reasons too. It could be because of gas kitchen, they couldn't cook or whatever it might be. I don't really know. And but still, it was like just observing and watching how people treat people, like at least the waitress with other people. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know, like, I guess it's, I try not to go that route and say, see, you see what I mean? Like, I was right to begin with, but I didn't say anything. And then after a while, after the whole restaurant thing, I told my roommate, and I was like, I know you don't like when I say this, but I had a feeling that they didn't really like us over there. And so even when we went, they didn't really treat us the way that, like a typical waitress would be treating you, I don't know. And there's just something really weird off about that place too. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. It's,
Did you ever really get a strong signal that your hunch about the way the restaurant was managed was really bad, or is it just an example of, like, for me, I don't mind, because I mean, sometimes, I go with those hunches too. I go with those vibes too, necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it doesn't always mean anything. Sometimes it means, unless I get really actually treated bad, then I won't go back there, or if it's close, or I can see something wrong, and that changes my opinion. But, Bridget, how about you in introverted intuition?
I was just there. I was just in La La Land.
Going from La La Land.
Mostly just like I was listening to everything you guys are saying, but I was stuck in like receiving mode, and now I have to say something, and I haven't thought about anything.
Let's see. I have as far as INFJs, I don't know for sure, because everybody, when they learn about typology, they think, I wonder what my brother, my sister, my mom, and my dad's type is. And so when I was thinking about my parents' type, I'm pretty sure my dad is ISTJ, but I thought my mom might be an ENFJ. But when I actually talked to her about it, and like my dad, she had come across typology at some point in the past, and she told me that she had tested INFJ, so I wasn't that off. So if, like, I'm a kid, you might think that your parents more extroverted because they have to pay all the bills and talk to all the people behind all the counters. So maybe they're, you don't realize. But yeah, so that, and I know for her and in her INFJ mode, I guess I see it mostly a lot in the auxiliary FE, and how the F component, the extroverted feeling component, comes, because, you guys, when you're behind the curtain, it's a completely different show than the presentation, because extroverted feeling is so much about presentation and presenting yourself in a certain way to make sure people feel a certain way. So for me, I guess being around an INFJ all the time, that's the kind of dynamic that I always felt like I almost had to catch up with, with my inferior extroverted feeling.
Yeah, I was just thinking about how, like Yvonne, the ENFP, has described me as like, wow, you can be so diplomatic and know exactly what to say to the right people and everything, but when we're sitting around on your couch, we're like smoking a joint, making fart jokes and talking shit about people.
Right.
And just doing silly shit. Like, yeah, there's definitely like the presentation, and then there's the I can like take off my human suit and be the real.
I work customer service too, and when I worked customer service, it was easy enough for me to have like a system of behavior. I'm sure it wasn't like as adaptive or dynamic or real time as you true feelers have, but I had my little routine that I could work with and deal with the external world without overwhelming myself.
Yeah, it's definitely like, because I do get very worn out from being social a lot, but like the routine or the mask is really helpful for dealing with that, because it's like I know these like scripted things that I can say just to keep a conversation going without it being like a huge energy expense. Whereas if I were to like sit and have a more involved conversation with a lot of different people all throughout the day, I'll deflate by the end of the day. I'll be like ready for bed.
Do you guys think that's why INFPs are always burnt out all the time?
Probably.
take things too much to heart. I was telling my INFP girlfriend is like, when she was first starting, it was a customer service component to what she does for a living. I just told her, like, yeah, you can't take these people that seriously. It's like, you listen, you go, yeah, and you hang up, just like, all right, whatever. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Don't get too emotionally invested.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you guys know any other INFJs in your life? Besides each other, obviously.
The grandma's an INFJ. She's a hilarious INFJ.
She is hilarious.
My grandmother.
Your grandmother, okay.
Yeah.
You still around?
Yep.
Okay, that's cool. How are you sure she's an INFJ?
She took the test many times, and she was actually kind of the reason why I got into it in elementary school and middle school. She was like, let's see what you're like. And I was like, okay. And so I started answering the questions. And it's an early archetype of the quiz. So it was more simplistic for my small, young brain.
Right. Hey, it's accurate.
Yeah. And so she was like, oh, that's interesting. And then she immediately just walked off. And I was like, okay.
She was just doing it for her benefit.
That was my first experience with hard INFJ moment of just like, thanks, I got what I needed, gotta go.
Yeah. That definitely happens.
Kayce, do you know any INFJs?
Yes. I don't know to 100% confident about it, but two of my INFP friends one is married to an INFJ, and then the other one, she's engaged to an INFJ supposedly, but both INFJs are also good friends. And then if I recall back, just kind of like from my interaction with my experiences with the church people and stuff, supposedly there's another girl too, but I don't know to the extent if she is or isn't. It's just kind of like we talked about it. She's mentioned that she is all great and dandy, and then that's about it. So,
have you met any of them? The other INFJs? Have you talked to them or like had any kind of communication?
The two guys, yes. One of them, he is very like the moment you mention MBTI and function, he's like, oh my gosh, like just goes into all this crazy stuff, and I was like, totally cool. I feel like he's a little bit more. I don't know what the word is. I don't know. He comes out a little bit more strong when it comes to like all these like, no, it's like this way and then this way and then like this. No, it's like this, and I'm just like, okay, I guess just
You're
listening to it.
Is very fixed, like, you're saying he has very fixed ideas of what.
Yes. The other one, he's a little bit more laid back. I think it's probably because of his own temperament too. I think he's just more on the nice, diplomatic, shy guy. So it probably just looks different when they, get into their INFJ mode, if there's such thing. But that's pretty much it. So
it's a good thing to point out that, like, I should say this in every single video I ever do about typology. Typology is just one facet of someone's personality. There's cultural differences. There are age differences. There are differences in what your family was like versus some other person's family in the same culture, and all of that stuff definitely has a way. It all weighs on your personality, on the way you behave, and the way you react to things, and the way you interpret them. Because people get carried away sometimes thinking like that this is everything, or even that people talk about typology think that it's everything because they're just trying to stay on topic, people. But that was very interesting though, that Mike's grandma. My grandma never told me about that part.
Yeah, she does a lot of just random research. She's done that all of her life. I don't know why she did it, but I'm starting to do it too. Like I just kind of get into a subject and I get into it real hard, and then I jump off of it, and then randomly I'll just remember it and be like, hey, this is a fact about something I remembered, and I'll just tell somebody randomly, and they'll be like, cool, why are you telling me this? I'm like, I don't know, it's just because I remembered it, and now I need to share what I remembered.
Well, you never know if it's like the apocalypse and you've got to build your own stack with solar panels. You can start mining Bitcoin. You know what's out of there.
Yeah, I'm one of those type of guys. I'm a jack of all trades type of person. I can build a house from the ground up, a car from the ground up. Probably could get into electrical and probably build a solar panel if I wanted to. But I tend to go into a lot of utility abilities in my life, and I just kind of absorb that information. And then I also grab tidbits of really useless facts along the way and just kind of retain it. It's actually really debilitating sometimes because I mix my facts up sometimes and it gets troublesome, at least in my own head.
Well, you know, hey, that happens to the best of us.
I guess the best of us.
Well, I guess I mean me by the best of us, but that happens.
Yeah, and say same thing happens with Bridget. She researches real hard into something, and then it kind of just stops.
I'm just thinking about all these weird, like, sex kink videos I've been watching. I keep watching videos about people in incestuous relationships right now. They keep popping up on my feed. I'm like, oh, it's interesting. And now I have all this useless knowledge about, like, people who commit incest and other people, like, these case studies on Wikipedia.
I'm amazed. I was watching this TED Talk talking about some of the horrible videos that were on YouTube and that kids are watching on YouTube. And I'm like, why are kids allowed to just watch things on YouTube? There's craziness.
Yeah, it's like those Elsa vids that people were really upset about because it was like, I don't know, was it like pornographic or something? And it was on YouTube, but it looked like children's videos. Peppa Pig and all that weird shit.
Like,
there was like a conspiracy, and it's like, why the fuck are you letting your kid just watch YouTube indiscriminately? Like, why aren't you paying attention to what they're watching?
There's actually modes in YouTube that can like prevent kids from just looking up anything and everything, and there's like age guidelines that prevent certain images from popping up as well. So
maybe know that there's going to be ways for weirdos to get around it.
Yeah, but I mean, that's at their discretion, and if they're smart enough, kudos to them. Like, they obviously put in the effort to be traumatized by such things. So,
now I wanted to talk about, because we are almost at a half hour already, I wanted to talk about one more thing about INFJs, if we can. You guys may or may not have anything to say, but extroverted sensing is supposed to be the counterpoint to introverted intuition. It's supposed to be the weakest function for the INFJ type, so most people's understanding of extroverted sensing is having a direct effect on the world around you. So maybe the opposite of the daydreamy tendency and the imagining of potentials and getting into the actuals. What do you have anything to say about extroverted sensing? Or Kayce, I'm sorry.
I don't really know. Like I don't have too much information about it, but what I was thinking in my head was, like, I would brainstorm things in my head, and then it might take me 6 months before I can take an action on it. But really, once I really know and I'm confident in what I know and what I'm doing, and then I step out and do it, and then I'm able to accomplish that within a certain amount of time. So for me, I guess making sure that I'm executing in a really, or in a way, the way that I had imagined in my head, I guess. But I don't know, because Brie had mentioned you're doing SE stuff. I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just really busy. I'm just out there enjoying people and doing stuff. But that's, to me, socializing.
You have one of those long-term things, and you've been thinking about it for months and months. Is it always what makes it so you feel like, okay, now's the time? Or is it a circumstance that has to change? What makes it happen?
For example, so I've been talking about grad school. That was probably 3 years ago, and now it's finally happening. I think it's just really the time itself is, I guess so before I officially applied to it, I'm thinking okay, I'm going to be here. Grad school is probably going to take 3 years. I need to kind of figure out like what kind of grad program and what kind of classes, and if I can break it down, and of course also kind of figure out like what my full-time job allow me to do, like certain things, or can I like do, it's just a lot of things like that that kind of like, or a really big thing that I really struggle with is just like, okay, what if I missed out a perfect opportunity? That will kind of hold back and hold back and hold back. And then I'm just like, well, it's either now or never, so I just gotta do it. So I think that's when I just have to push myself to just do it.
So it's
And then,
having to consider all the different variables and making sure you're not accidentally making the less perfect choice and less better, more optimum choice that you should have been, and now you're going to regret it because you're stuck here or something like that.
Yeah, basically. So I'm just trying to minimize, or at least like, just try to find like the best route to do like grad school. So I don't know. Now I'm just kind of like, is there really any other better route? I don't really know anymore. I don't know anymore.
Okay. Bridget, extroverted sensing. What is extroverted? How do you think extroverted sensing manifests for you?
I definitely feel it like when I'm engaged in physical activities, that's like how I achieve flow state. Like I can't, if I'm just like, I can't just sit and meditate because my mind is going to go like in a bunch of million different ways if I'm sitting still. But if I'm like in my kayak or something, that all gets cut off and suddenly I'm just in the moment. And to me, that's very SE, being really like just experiencing the things that are happening right now and pushing yourself, like moving your body with it.
So what are some of your favorite activities?
What
are some of your favorite physical activities?
Hiking.
All solo stuff. I know it's just like, you guys like to. Well, I mean, maybe you don't like to run, but I have an ENFJ friend. He likes to run. It's like it's never anything where someone can beat you.
I mean, if I would probably run if it weren't for the fact that running hurts my teeth. It's a really weird issue that I have. But like running and shit, it hurts my teeth. It like jostles them and everything.
It's probably a sign you shouldn't be running.
Yeah, so I don't run. I can sprint pretty well if I have to. People have seen me like get up and go, but otherwise it's mostly just.
Mike, you say you like to build a lot of stuff. Do you feel like that's the main manifestation of your extroverted type?
I would say it's more of a necessity for my inner thoughts on a potential Armageddon in my survival. And I kind of just manifest my need for knowledge into that mindset of, I want to know this stuff just in case something happens.
Well, I mean, do you mean like when you're tinkering and building stuff, or like working on the car?
Yeah, like when you actually manifest, when it comes to, when that stuff that's inside you comes from potential to actual, what is that? What causes that, do you find? What do you have main roots for that kind of activity?
No, it's really sporadic. For me, it's just like, I'm gonna get up and do a thing. And I just kind of just start doing it. And it's not necessarily because of some like inner trigger or some thought process. It's just simply, body needs to move. I'm going to start doing movement stuff. And if other people are involved, cool. And if they're not, whatever.
Do you exercise a lot or work out a lot? Or?
Yes. I do a lot of running, weight training, definitely like sports. I'm much more active than I let on for an INFJ, so to speak. I do like to get out and do a lot of things. And it's just a matter of, I'm going to do this thing, and if other people join, it's okay. But if nobody joins, I'm okay. But I make sure like the things I do is definitely open to others being involved. But I'm perfectly fine with the activity being just me.
Well, I have a very poor relationship with extroverted sensing, so please talk to me.
You guys are really active. I'm just super lazy. I'm like, I think I feel like running today. Okay, I'll do that. But it's never really like, I'm gonna do sports. I'm gonna like. We were. I was in Chicago recently, and I came, and they were. The leaders are like, "Oh, we're gonna play whirling ball." I'm like, "What's that?" They're like, "Oh, it's like go kart, but basically you like have to scoop up the ball and you have to like, throw into like hit the hoop." And I was like, "Oh, that sounds really fun," you know? Like, yeah. But I was like, I don't really want to do it. They're like, "Why?" I'm like, because I don't like competition. I don't really want to do all this stuff. It just sounds really fun. It looks really fun, you know? And they're like, "Oh, why don't you try?" I'm like, because I don't really want to. I have to watch it first. Is it fun? Okay, it looks fun. Now I know that we, at least my state, we have a whirling ball over here. So I'm just like, okay, I guess I can do that sometime this summer before it ends. So
Like
to me, that's working out.
That's the only aspect for me of sports I ever enjoyed was the fact that there was competition, there was strategic difference, and there was tactics. And like I always just the same way you would look at any other game or video game. I didn't see sports as different, but it was never about the fact that it was physical. It was just like, oh, I bet I could like do this thing, and then what are you gonna do? It was always tactical, you know.
Yeah, like, I was just thinking how Nova and I are definitely like competitive people. Like we love to do things that are competitive. Like you get into the gaming and everything. And, well, yeah, we were both competitive gamers when we met on the same game.
Did we do it for money?
We just like, huh?
Money?
Not for money. No money involved. It was just a really fun PvP system.
Well, for me, I was competitive for a short period of time.
Oh.
Remember,
Sorry, I don't know if it was for everybody, but your audio kind of broke out, Mike. Can you say that one more time?
I said I did get paid, not substantially, but I did get paid for competitive gaming in a game called Smite. I enjoyed it a lot, and for me, being the INFJ, and I like to sit back and watch and kind of manipulate the situation, I played the support role. So I was kind of like the guy who would sit back, make sure that my carry didn't die, but also was the type of person who would like manipulate the team fights to be in our favor. And I would have to tell people, you know, go this way, stand here, wait for me, you know, let me go in first and probably die. But I enjoyed the competitive aspect of that because everybody else would start getting upset and I'd be the mediator guy just being like, look, just chill out, you know, we'll rotate this way or that way and everything will work out. And it would do that.
I actually do remember I have an INFJ friend who was like that. And there's obviously, and I was going to ask you, there are some gamers who do not respond well to that kind of stuff. They hate they hate people who talk too much, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Luckily, I'm very short-winded with my words when it comes to gaming, and so nobody really would get upset at that. But then there are the people who kind of, I guess, they definitely wouldn't be an IN type, but they would definitely kind of jump down my throat if I tried to advise them on any alternate strategy that's not in their head or what they think would work. Which for them is more like the power through type. And I'm just like, you know, you can't power through everything. And, you know, I'd have my conflicts there, but that would just add to the aspect of me trying to build the scenario that I want to end with. And so that was a challenge in itself. Can't say that all experiences were perfect or great, but the most terrible situations with that was mostly people just like harassing me after the match is over. And I'm just like, bro, the game is over. I just want to go eat ramen or something. Can you settle your emotions on your own? But they had to have the resolution, so I'd have to deal with it. And I'll say those are my downsides of the competitive aspect is managing somebody else's emotions after the fact.
Well, if all you're trying to do is stir them up and then leave them pissed off, it's a lot easier. There's much less overhead.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that you said that you like playing the support role because you like to manipulate the situations and everything, because that's the exact same reason why I really enjoyed playing tank class in PvP. I really love being able to Like if you have an 8 versus 8, or no, we had 4v4s in Motel. So you have 2 teams of 4 going at each other, and then you're like this tank with that cannot be knocked back or knocked down or anything like that, and nobody wants to face you head on. So they start facing everybody else on your team, and then you come in at the most unsuspecting moment to just fuck their day up. And they're just like, where did this fucking boulder come from? It's the most fun, hilarious thing, and you can also just like totally manipulate the entire landscape and make it so that your team members can just fuck shit up, you know, do their DPS and everything, and you're just like there interrupting people, making everybody like have a miserable time trying to fight your team.
Yeah, basically your existence is a threat zone and nobody wants to be.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. Did anybody want to put in any last words before we go? Kayce? No? Thank you very much for having the time to spend on this Sunday with us. Mike and Bridget, you guys want to say anything before we left?
It's a lot of fun talking with fellow people who usually don't like talking together.
Well, I feel honored. I'm just kidding.
That was a lot of fun.
We can change things up next hangout. We can get 4 or maybe 5 INFJs. So,
that would be incredible.
Thank you guys for talking to me, and thank you people for listening, all of you who made it to the end, and we will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.